going on with you, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man's meticulously multi-talented Maark W coming at you one more time yet again. How are you? You know, I just realized I have this whole phrase that I've never said on the YouTube camera, mostly because it was advice from my guy Curtis King. He said most people don't want to hear it, but I would be beside myself if I didn't say it at least once in my YouTube history. I need y'all to hear it, not just at my shows. Speaking of which, I do make music of my own. I'm gonna put the link somewhere on the screen, or it's probably gonna be in the description. So please visit my Bandcamp. I'll put other clips of me doing music in here. There is a show that I did recently. You can find that in my page someplace. But other than that, y'all know what I do this for. I do this for the overlooked, the underbooked, and the over-prepared. You're not solo. You're just meticulous. Am I the asshole for wanting to drop out of high school and become a rap artist? My guy, I don't think I've ever felt this way this early. I'ma lean in and just say, yeah, you probably the asshole. My parents have always held me to a high standard in education up until May 2018, when I realized that school is beyond pointless and that I've wasted tons of time on studying, homework, etc. Wait. You've wasted tons of time studying, homework, all that stuff. What do you think this career is going to entail? How do you see this going? I feel like a lot of kids, and some adults for that matter, have this misconception that when they get into this industry, when they allow themselves the opportunity to fully immerse themselves in this business, that is gonna be all fun and games and no work involved. I said it in a past video. It might not look like work. It might not feel like work for those of us who enjoy it, but make no mistake, this is work. Work entails taking stuff home. Homework. It involves studying what's going on in your field constantly. It never stops. I get it. It don't feel that way because it's something you want to do, but dude, if you don't like homework now, I just finished my sophomore year of high school. It was quite a rocky road. I showed up to class high all the time on more stuff than just He does go on to mention what else he was taking in. I'm not gonna say that here on YouTube. I feel like I couldn't even say, and I'm probably gonna bleep out we. Needless to say, my man's is on a joyride that can only be induced by outside intoxication. I think that's a good way of saying that. My parents are absolutely furious because I informed them that I'm planning on dropping out just before my junior year starts in August, which happens to be perfectly legal in my state without parental approval because I'm of age. You informed your parents that you are no longer going to be in school. Are you ready for those consequences? I remember when I was younger, I felt like I wanted to step up to my dad and assert my dominance as a man. And I happened to pull my grandmother aside and ask what she thought about this. She said two things. One, are you ready to really live on your own? No, I was not. I was barely 18. I don't even think I was 18 at the time. And then two, are you ready to be dealt with like a man in the way that your father deals with other men who are disrespectful? My dad, he is completely a different person. When he was younger, he was not the same person you see now. So for me to come at him with that type of proposal, we'll call it that, he might have put two on my chest, paws to my chest, not necessarily. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. It would not have gone in my favor. So I'm gonna ask you the same question. Are you ready for the consequences of your actions, young man? Because you're making some grown man decisions. Throughout the years, I've discovered that my true passion in life goes beyond just sitting in a classroom, taking orders from adults who measure their self-worth by the difficulty of the degree they earned and prestige of the school. All right, so I'm gonna side with you on this one. I can't stand when adults put so much weight behind the schools they went to and what kind of degree they had. Life experience does give you a different type of education that school can't necessarily give you. I learned more about what it is I do now outside of the classroom. Now, that is not to say that school is not important. I think the real thing you get from going to school, not just in high school, but also in college, is learning how to work with others. In high school is kind of mandated. You got to do that. Well, not in your situation because you could apparently leave at junior year. But in college, you're now amongst different classes, different ethnicities. In some cases, I went to an HBCU, so it wasn't a whole lot of different diversity in that regard. You're collaborating with people who had different walks of life than you. In high school, you tend to have the same demographic, but in college, you got people that come from a lot of money. You got people that didn't come from the same kind of money. You got some people that scrimped and scraped just to get into school, and it has a different air about it. And learning how to work well with these type of people, because in college, you got to work with your cohort. You got to work with people outside of your normal circle. So I think school provides more than just learning A to Z. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. But at the same time, I do understand what you're saying as far as how adults, as you call it, look at their prestige. Hey, yo, since I got you here, if you have a wild story, janky promoters, studio drama, anything that made you question who was the real problem, I want to hear about it. I'm building this Am I the Asshole music story series off of real stories from people like you. The link is in the description. It's anonymous and it's safe. I don't need your name. I just need the truth. And while you're here, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the page so you don't miss the next one. All right. Let's get back to the chaos. I can't stand school. I really can't. My true passion lies in music and trying to influence people. What are you about to influence them on, sir? Drop out of school? Be a druggie? Because you harping on that. So what is your influence? What is your influence? Also, understand that I am not just trying to come off as a kid who wants to quit school just so I could become a SoundCloud rapper. I'm not a idiot, and I have actual ambition other than drugs. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. You have actual ambition other than intoxication. You haven't proved that. You haven't proved you have ambition outside of that. You know why you haven't proved it? Because you're trying to drop out of school. You want to prove you have ambition? Stay in school and knock it out. At least finish high school, bro. Like, show that you really can complete a thing. Because right now, all you're proving is that you don't want to finish anything you start and you want to get high along the way. My parents said if I were to withdraw, they are considering making me find a new place to stay. And my boy said he would let me stay at his house until I blow up. And you got people who enable you. Your parents absolutely did the right thing by saying you need to find a new place to live. That's what my dad would have did. Not in those words exactly, but that would have been the sentiment. But your boy saying you could stay at his house until you blow up. How old is your boy? I'm assuming he's a little bit older if he got his own place. I mean, that you got a bad circle of people around you. This is just terrible. I blocked my parents' numbers and turned off my location sharing services so they can't track where I am. You can call me whatever you want, but I feel like my parents, teachers, and school as a whole are just impeding on my rise to stardom. He doesn't ask, do you think I'm the asshole? We'll answer that question that you didn't ask. Yes, sir, you're the asshole. Emphatically so. So I think you've been taking a little bit too much of your recreational medicine, because where in your mind does it make sense? I mean, you tell us, but where in your mind does it make sense to drop out of school because you don't like the work going on there? You feel like you're wasting your time. You feel like you putting in hours into a thing that you don't like. Guess what? That's a lot of what adulting is. Putting hours into things that you don't necessarily see as viable. You don't necessarily see it as a benefit for you. But as an adult, you got to do things you don't want to do to be able to do things you want to do. That's one of the toughest lessons I learned in my time in college. I did drop out of college. My first time going to the school I went to, I'm not going to say what school I went to because I don't want to give them a bad rep. I thought it best to find my own means of education. Hard knock life. And I noticed, like, I should have finished. At least having that little piece of paper would have let people know I can finish a thing. If nothing else, doesn't matter what my degree is in. And I learned that later on in life. Your degree doesn't necessarily bespeak to your intelligence level. It just says to people, you can finish a thing. That's all it says. I did end up going back to school because I realized what I wanted to use school for. I wanted to get into school for music because that's what I really wanted to do. If I was smarter, I would have went to college for that in the beginning. I would have studied these things, but I didn't know. Had I stayed in school, I would have found out. My guy, put down whatever else you're taking. Put down all these things that you think is helping you reach this state of enlightenment because it's messing with your brain cells. And unfortunately, a lot of people, and I'm gonna assume your demographic is anything after millennial, because y'all think y'all got it figured out while intoxicated. And you're not able to make these thoughts clearly. I bet you if you just hunkered down, did the things your parents asked you to do, they would be more than willing to support you in whatever it is you were trying to do. But going about it the way you're going about it, I get it, you're stubborn, teenage rage, them hormones is building up, you smelling yourself in more ways than one. Finish a thing. Because any record label, you know what? Forget the record label. If you're independent, you gotta be able to show up for yourself every single day. You can't even show up to class on time. You can't even show up to class sober. What makes you think you can handle this? You don't want to do the small things. This is big boy work here. You can't do the little kid stuff. That's what I think. What do you think? Is he the a-hole for dropping out of school, cussing his parents out, and living at his boy's house and pursuing a career in music? I think he is, but I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Hey, hold up. Before you go, if you enjoyed this Am I the Asshole story, please make sure you click the playlist on the screen. The rest of the stories go just as hard, and some of them a little bit harder than this one. I'm trying to give you these stories weekly and possibly faster, but I need y'all to keep watching. So click the playlist on the screen and stay tapped in. And hey, if you have a wild music story, don't hold back. Go ahead and click the link in the description and submit your Am I the Asshole moment. It could be your story I break down next. Tap in with me. You know I tap back. Peace.
Everything meticulous.